Hey guys, I would like to thank you for purchasing my wig course. So this is going to be an introduction into wig making, definitely beginner friendly, so let's get started. All right, so first I want to show you guys how to take custom measurements and also block measurements, transferring them onto your canvas head or your wig canvas. So let's get started, you guys. Okay, first things first, I'm gonna use a 22-inch wig canvas head, some Scotch tape, some T-pins, and also I'm using 2 measuring tapes for this technique. Now, the reason why we're blocking or taking these measurements and putting them on our mannequin and our canvas head is just so that when we're making our wigs, we can literally mark where our customers' head shapes are and what their measurements are. So that way their wigs will fit perfect every single time. So that's what this first measurement is reflecting. This is going to be 9 inches from the bottom of the canvas head. This is going to reflect where the hairline is going to start in relation to the face. So that's why we're pinning it there. And also, guys, use your pins as a guide as well. That's very helpful, definitely from being a beginner. And we're using the middle seam of the canvas head just as a guide, just to make sure everything is even and straight. Now, guys, I like to use Scotch tape just to secure the measuring tape down. You guys know, if you guys seen my work, that I like to also wrap my canvas head in saran wrap. That just protects the canvas head, and also it protects your guide that you are putting in right now. So keep that in mind, you guys. If you wrap your mannequin head or canvas head with some saran wrap, then that just preserves the mannequin head from guidelines, color, any damage. If you want to take product pictures with your canvas head, I recommend getting a mannequin, but a lot of people also use their canvas head. Either one is fine. So yeah, that's just a quick tip, you guys. And also I'm going to cut off the metal part because we really don't need it for this tutorial. right, guys, so this measurement right here is the ear to ear measurement. Now, if you are making a frontal wig, then this is going to be very important. That's what this measurement is for. In today's tutorial, we are making a 5x5 HD closure wig. So definitely stay tuned to my master class to learn my frontal glueless wig making techniques. All right, guys, now that we have our blueprint already done, I'm gonna put the measurements up on the screen right here for you guys to see. I'm also gonna give you guys a demonstration of what it would look like if you were taking your client's head measurements for a custom wig. This is just a quick demonstration of what it would look like, and also you're just gonna repeat from the graph all the measurements, mimicking the measurements that we just put on our canvas head. So I hope that made sense for you guys. This is the blueprint behind every single wig that I make, you guys. Hopefully you guys love this tip and me just showing you guys how to measure your client's head, how to block your measurements, and also how to transfer them to a canvas head. So all right, guys, let's get into the next step, so stay tuned. Okay, so let's get it started into wig making. So now this is my go-to beginner wig making cap, you guys. You guys know I love a ventilated mesh cap. It's breathable, stretchable, and it dries very easy. So this side right here, this is gonna go on the front, and the open side is gonna go in the back. So we're gonna use the closed side as a guide, starting from the 9 inches from the top, like you guys can see where my measuring tape starts. That's gonna always be our starting point. So we're gonna place the wig cap on our canvas head, making sure it's in the middle, and we're gonna pin everything down accordingly. You could use the 2 seams in the wig cap to as a guide, just to pin it down if you guys are unsure where to put your pins at. So yeah, you could just follow those 2 seams and just pin your wig cap down there. Okay, once our wig cap is pinned, we can literally see the excess cap, you guys. I can pinch it with my finger. So I'm going to show you guys right now how to customize your wig cap just to make sure it's a custom fit and it's not bulky when your customer goes to put it on. That way it can ensure a nice, sleek, and snug fit. So as you guys can see, I'm just pulling all the fabric up to the front with my fingers. And we're just going to fold it right over onto the band side of the wig cap. And we're going to pin right in place, making sure our wig cap is smooth. There is no lumps and no bumps before we proceed onto the next step. Alright, so as you guys can see, that's such a major difference from the beginning where we just started. So now you guys, you're ready to sew down your wig cap across the front. I like to use the loop pull method while sewing down my wig cap. That's just me. We're going to go through the first layer of our wig cap, which means, guys, I'm not sewing through the elastic band part of my wig cap. So I just want to clarify that, because all we need is just to take the space out of our wig. So we definitely have that down, and like you guys can see, I'm just using the loop pull method just to make sure everything's secure. Alright, so now that step is all complete, you guys, like you guys can see, everything is flat, seamless, and now we can place our closure down. So now what we're gonna do for this step is I'm just folding my closure in half, you guys, creating a seam in the middle of my closure just so I know where to place it, and follow my guide, follow my canvas head, and making sure everything is even. This is how I do it. I literally take my closure and I fold it right in half. And then when you open up your closure, you should see like a faint seam in the closure, just a little bit. This is the HD closure, so I know it's hard to see, but yeah, I'm just following that seam that's down the middle, and I'm just lining it up with my canvas head, you guys, and then we're gonna pin right in place. So the first place we pin is in the front, and then the second place we pin is in the back, making sure that everything is even and in the middle. All right, now that the back is pinned, we're gonna continue pinning down the sides. Now, when you're pinning down your closure, you wanna make sure that it's extremely flat. And also, I like to move the closure up a 1/2 inch up from the wig cap, just so that like I won't see the sides when I'm complete. Once everything is pinned, we're gonna tie up the hair and we're gonna just recheck our closure, making sure everything is flat how we like it, even and seamless. You want to tie up your closure just so you can get one more glance, one more look at it just before you start stitching it down and pinning it. And even right here for me, because I always go back and double check my work, I could see like the closure wasn't exactly straight, but that's why you want to go back and check your work. I'm really big on teaching my students to go back, double check, and work neatly. That way you're always in the habit of doing things the right way and checking your own work, so that way you could avoid mistakes. And yeah, you just get better over time and with practice, you guys. So yeah, I'm just readjusting the closure right now before we stitch it down to the wig cap. That's how it looks, all even, all done. That's how your closure should look, all flat, no spaces, no lumps, no bumps. That's how you know you did it right. Now going back in, we're starting our first stitch at the very tip of our wig cap. Now for these stitches, it doesn't matter if you go through the wig cap or not. It's not necessary because we're gonna reinforce this stitch on the sewing machine. So I'm just using the first layer of the wig cap, just sewing it through it. And also, you guys, like you guys can see, I'm using the loophole method. This just makes my closure secure. Like you guys see here, I'm keeping my stitches pretty close, only because I like my work neat and I like it to look really seamless and flawless. right, so now that step is done and our closure is all sewn down, you guys, we're gonna take measuring tape and we're gonna take our oil-based Sharpie, our oil-based metallic Sharpie, and we're gonna start creating our guideline. Now, I created this guideline with my beginners in mind, so I didn't want to do it perfect, but I want to teach you guys how you can get it to be perfect, if that makes sense. So you guys know we have our wig measurements already built in. So if you cannot see through your wig cap at this point, you can tack a piece of measuring tape on top like you guys see me do here, and we're gonna just mark every inch going all the way up to the top of the wig cap until we get to the closure, you guys. And also for me, I want to make this wig a bob, so I skipped the first one. I'm not gonna really sew a track there, but if this wig was not a bob, then I'm definitely gonna sew a track at that first marking where I had just started at the bottom. So yeah, guys, once I get to the top, I like to mark where the closure is gonna lay, so that way I know how many tracks I need to add, or if I don't need to add any tracks. So now once everything's marked, we're gonna just extend those lines to the first seam of the wig cap, and everything that you do on this step, you want to repeat it on the other side as well. Alright guys, so once we move our measuring tape, we can literally just start connecting the dots and just extending our lines across our wig cap. Now you guys, with this step, your lines do not have to be perfect. Like I said, I'm going to teach you guys how to go back over them and how to just straighten up your lines. If you're a beginner and you're just starting this technique, don't worry, I definitely got you. Take your time and practice. Practice makes permanent. All right, so now that we have our first guide marked down, now we're just gonna follow those lines and we're gonna extend them to the sides of the wig cap, you guys. So one thing I'm doing is I'm taking one of my hands, I'm turning the canvas head, and then also I'm just tracing with my other hand, starting a guide, and I'm just following from that first line in the back. We want to do this both on each side, and as you guys can see, I'm really tracing my lines so they are thicker than normal, but I'm gonna go back over them again for you guys just so you can see why I'm doing that and why they're so thick and why I'm going back and forth, just to help you guys as a tip, because again, if you're just trying to like draw a straight line from one side to the other, it's going to be harder for you. But if you can trace a line like I'm doing, then it's going to make it a little bit easier for you. So that's like a little tip. I know a lot of people struggle with guidelines, when honestly, you guys, guidelines are so easy. And we want to repeat the same step on the opposite side. Guys, once this step is complete, now we're going to look at the wig cap, and I'm going to add my last track. As you guys can see here, we have a little bit of space. So once we outline the closure, we can see where that last track is going to go, right at the top of the cap. So that's where we're going to place it, and I'm just adding in that guideline. Once that step is complete, now we're going to go over our entire guideline, measuring out each line. We're doing this just so, 1, is great practice, 2, we're making the lines more thicker, and 3, we're making them more straighter. This is the step where you go back in and you can just retrace, taking your time, you guys. that's perfect. Like you guys can see, it looks way better than the last time. Now we're gonna get into doubling our tracks, you guys. Now, the reason why we double our tracks is because to make the wig fuller, to fit as much hair as we can in our wigs. Now for this tutorial, we are using 2.5 bundles. This is an example of what the track looks like when it's doubled. Alright guys, so let's get started. Now first things first, we're going to use the setting on our sewing machine. We are using the zigzag stitch setting, and then also our length is going to be from 4 to 3. Now, first things first, what you want to do is you want to line up your tracks, you guys, putting them side by side, making sure they're even when they go underneath your machine. Now, we are not going to place them at the tip. You're going to place your tracks directly underneath that presser foot, just so the tracks are able to move, you guys. Now, once that's done, we want to manually hand sew, you guys, at the beginning of the track, making sure that needle touches the top track and the bottom track before we begin sewing. And also, this is just a pro tip, we are going to backstitch at the beginning and end of each of our tracks. So now once we have everything lined up, you guys can see my hand placement. I'm just going to pinch that track, just making sure it's going to stay secure, making sure it's not going to go anywhere. That's why I'm twiggling my fingers so you guys can see placement is literally everything. You want to start off slow if you're a beginner and just let the machine guide your tracks, you guys. Again, when you're watching this, I want you guys to pay attention to my fingers. My fingers rarely move when I'm doing this step. Why? Because once you have the correct hand placement, it's going to be easy, it's going to be seamless, and you guys are going to have an easy time. But as a beginner, it's going to take some practice in the beginning. So my advice would be to just practice, you guys. Practice as much as you can. The more you do this step, the easier it's going to become. And again, like I said, towards the end of the track, if you need to readjust the track, that's fine. Like you guys can see, I'm right here making sure the needle touches the top track and the bottom track before I even start sewing it. So if you need a break, you guys, definitely take that, definitely readjust those tracks, making sure the needle is touching the top and the bottom. So now once we get to the end of the track, what I'm going to do is I'm going to backstitch at least 2 times from the beginning and the end of every single track, you guys. And yeah, then we have our tracks doubled. So now we're going to take our scissors, we're going to cut that, and I'm going to show you guys an example of what that looks like correctly. This is the quality of work that you should have, you guys. It shouldn't be bumpy or lumpy. Again, the needle was touching both the top and the track, and like you guys can see, everything's fused together perfectly. And now we can continue to be making our wig. We want to follow our guide, you guys. Now, this is also really, really good. If you retrace your guide, you can see it. You know, it's going to make it really visible for you guys, especially if you're a beginner, to know and see exactly where that track needs to be placed, you know. So again, you guys, we want to measure up everything. We're placing the end of the track towards the end of the cap, and that's how we're going to put it underneath the machine. Again, you guys are going to see me readjust a lot in this video. I speak about readjusting those tracks and making sure you're on your guide a lot, because you guys, is very important. So now what we're going to do is we're going to place the cap and the track underneath the presser foot. We're not going to place it in the beginning or the front of it. We're going to place it underneath. That way our track and our caps can move and the machine will not get jammed, you guys. We are going to go slow, making sure the needle is touching the top of our cap and the top of that track, you guys. also what you guys see me doing here is I'm just measuring out my guide. Now again, you don't want to tug on the wig cap. You don't want to pull it while it's going underneath the sewing machine. The reasons why you don't want to do that, guys, you will stretch out your wig cap and you will get bumps in your wigs, you know, and we do not want that. Your wig will not fit your client's head. So that's why you do not want to tug on the wig cap or anything. That's why I'm teaching you guys to always measure out your track using your guide and hold it down, you guys. If anything, put pressure on your track, holding the track itself down, not really shifting the wig cap. So that's what I'm showing and demonstrating here. So once we're holding everything down securely, we can continue sewing. As you see how everything's just gliding nice and neat, that's because look at my hand placement. We're putting everything down, we're pressing everything down, and also I'm just readjusting that track, making sure I'm always on my guide. Your guide is your blueprint. You want to follow that guide. That will always lead you in the right direction, you guys. If you are not on your guide, then you can honestly know that you're making a different wig. So just think about it like that, you know? Think about you previously did all of this work to get to this point, so you want to make sure you're always staying on your guide, making sure you know where your guide is, and staying accurate with your work. I know a lot of people want to sew wigs fast, but as a beginner, when you're just starting out, you want to focus on your accuracy more. So make sure you take your time, you guys, and you backstitch at the beginning and end of each track. So that's what I'm doing right here, and I'm just going to cut off any excess, making sure we have a nice clean finish. And you guys, look at that. Quality work, you guys. That's what our work is going to look like. I'm going to flip the wig cap inside out so you guys can definitely see it. Now, I stayed right on my guide, you guys. You can see I did not even deviate from my guide, making sure I'm accurate. Now we're going to cut any thread as we go. That's a beginner tip. I always tell everyone, make sure you cut your thread as you go. That way you're not trying to find those little black threads in this black hair. It can get really tricky and you can lose it really fast. So now I'm going to show you, I'm going to go in again, you guys. I'm going to show you guys a different technique this time. This time, if you guys are struggling with the first technique and making sure you can see the top of the track and the cap, what we're actually going to do is we're going to turn the track around from the opposite side. So that was when we do the first one. We're literally going to turn it around, exposing the top and the bottom track, you guys. So now once we can see the top and the bottom track, I want you guys to do the same technique, lining everything up with your wig cap, putting everything underneath your presser foot, measuring out your guide, and it's literally the same technique. So once you start sewing, you're making sure your needle touches between those two tracks. Guys, make sure you're doing it slow, make sure you're doing your back stitching, and also following and measuring out your guide. Like you guys can see me readjusting my tracks and my cap, making sure nothing is folded underneath that presser foot, making sure everything is gonna go smoothly, you guys, and making sure I'm not stretching out that cap in no way, shape, or form. So just make sure you are taking your time, you are following your guide, and you are measuring out your tracks prior to even sewing. That will make your life easy. And the more you do these steps, I promise you guys, it's going to get very, very easy, and you're going to get fast over time. All right, you guys, again, we want to backstitch at least twice, at minimum twice, more at maximum 4 times. That's perfectly fine. But we want to cut our tracks. We want to check our work, making sure we are on our guide still, you guys. And again, look at that work. Look at how seamless that is. Again, you guys, both techniques work the same exact way. Your tracks are going to lay really flat. It all depends on what's comfortable for you. We want to cut that thread as we go, making sure our wig is all cleaned up, you guys. We do not have to go back. And yeah, you guys, that looks really good. And those tracks are extremely flat. All right, guys, so now as a bonus tip, what I wanted to show you guys in this step is if you want to know you're making your wigs right and you want to check your work, the best thing that you can do is put the wig cap and while you're making it back on your wig canvas head. That way you can check. As you guys can see, look at how flat that work is. Look, you guys. This step, you can check for mistakes. You can see if you're doing everything right. You always want to measure out and go back to your blueprint. That's why these steps are so important, you guys, because look at that work. Alrighty, so using the same technique, you guys, using the exposed track method that I just showed you guys, we are doing the same thing. I just want to give you guys some more examples of me sewing just so you guys can get the handle of it. Now we're going to place our track and our wig cap underneath the presser foot, you guys. Underneath the presser foot. When I started, I would start at the tip of our cap and it just was a mess. And like I said, you guys, the cap is not going to glide. So you make sure you're putting the cap and your tracks underneath the presser foot at the same time, lined up evenly. You want to manually make sure that needle is going into the wig cap and in the middle of those 2 tracks before we begin sewing. We want to backstitch at least twice, you guys, taking our time, always measuring out our guide, and we want to just keep sewing, okay? You guys, make sure you're always measuring out your guide. Make sure you're not stretching out your wig cap. So it may look like in the beginning I'm stretching out my wig cap, but I'm really not. And again, I've showed you guys how to go back and check your work just to make sure you're not stretching out your wig caps or anything and you're doing these steps and techniques the correct way. Now, once we're all secure and we are following our guide, I know my hands are in the way a little bit with this step. I do apologize, but hopefully I explained this step right where you guys can see where I'm measuring off the tracks, because honestly, it's the same techniques. once we get close to the end of finishing our wig, you guys, so what I like to do is I like to single my last 2 tracks before our closure or before my frontals. So that's what you guys see me doing here. And it's the same technique. You always want to backstitch at least twice. And for this step, you want to make sure the needle is going above and below that track for your single tracks, you guys. Always making sure you're taking your time, always making sure you're following off your guide. But I wanted to give you guys a quick demonstration of what that looks like if you are sewing single tracks. I said, I just want to always make sure I'm measuring out my guide first. I want the correct hand placement like you guys see in the video. So that way, once that needle starts going, everything is already measured up and it just makes it easier. That's why the sewing machine method is pretty trendy, because you guys can get wigs done quicker and really accurate if you just follow these steps and you're taking your time and you're learning the correct way, you guys. So again, like I said, even for me, I have over 10 years plus of wig making skills and I still use these techniques because they work, you know, and that's why I teach them now. So always just making sure that needle is hitting the track that's above and beneath the track when it's single, you guys. Always make sure you're measuring out your guide, and definitely on your turns when the cap starts to turn, because I know that can be a little bit tricky in the beginning. You just want to go a little bit slower, you know, making sure everything's lined up before you start sewing. So now for the last track before the closure, you guys, what I'm actually going to do is we are going to go in with a single stitch. So this is something I recently started doing. I really like this technique. I feel like it makes a world of a difference for me. So what I like to do is, using the same technique that we've been doing, we want to measure up everything, making sure that last track is laying directly next to the closure, and we just want to go in with a single stitch. Now with the single stitch and a single track, it may be a little bit tricky because you have to be really accurate, because if you go off base or off guide, then the track is not going to be sewn down, you know? So you definitely want to take your time with this step, you guys. In this step, you guys, I just grabbed shears just so you guys can see it better. I don't know why I just grabbed my shears, but yeah, I just use shears to cut off the tracks. But again, you're gonna follow that same step, always making sure you backstitch at the beginning and the ends of your tracks, and cutting your threads along the way, making sure your wig is already cleaned up and is seamless. Now, also, you guys, this is a bonus tip. If you make mistakes in your wigs, what you can do is you can use a seam ripper. So now we're using a seam ripper. Either you messed up on a track, either you sewn in the wrong spot, maybe you just double the wig cap or sewn the wig cap down in a place where you shouldn't supposed to. So that's what this step is for. You just want to use a seam ripper. You can get this anywhere from Walmart, Michaels, Joann's, Amazon, just to take out any seams that you messed up on, and you can just go back over your work and just do it again. So that's something I teach in my classes. You can always definitely correct your work. So I hope you guys got that tip. Use a seam ripper. It's the most accurate, and it's definitely gonna be a lifesaver when you're a beginner making wigs, you guys. So now that we are at our last track and that track is sewn down, you guys, now we want to just complete the unit. This step, we are sewing inside of our closure and on the other side of that last track, you guys. So that's what we're doing. That way we can make sure our wigs are secure. We've sewn down our closure properly, and also fuse that last track correctly, so that way our wig is seamless and it will have a lot of security, you guys. So that's just an added tip that I like to do. I definitely like to sew down that last track separately from my closure because I feel like it makes the wig more secure, and also it just helps when you go back to do a closure replacement. Alright, you guys, so there you have it. The unit is all complete. This is what your wig should be looking like now, you guys. And once you completed your wig, now we can cut the inside of our wig cap. So what I like to do is making sure you're not cutting your seams, you guys. I like to use fabric scissors, and I just like to cut right on the other side of our seams, making sure I'm avoiding our work. Now, when you're cutting off your wig cap, you guys, make sure you do it as neatly as possible, especially if you're gonna sell this wig. That's our finished results, you guys. Look at that beautiful work. This is how everything looks. If you follow these steps correctly with practice, you guys, your work will look just like this. So now what we're gonna do is we are going to add in our wig comb. So what I suggest you guys doing is I want you to place your wig comb on top of the wig cap. We're gonna take our Sharpie and we are going to measure out where our wig comb is exactly going to be and exactly going to lay. We are using an adjustable elastic band that I got from my local beauty supply store. You can get these from Amazon also. We want to just measure out at least an inch away from our closure where our elastic band is going to be. So an inch away on each side of our closure. Now again, we're doing an inch away, you guys, because this is a 5x5 closure. So as you guys can see, we have all of our measurements for our combs and for our elastic band is gonna lay, and we're gonna go in with another straight stitch, you guys, and we're gonna stitch it straight across, and also we're gonna back stitch our wig comb, our elastic bands down at least 2 times for security. Once our elastic bands are attached, you guys, we can begin attaching our comb. So what we want to do is we want to measure out where our comb is going to lay. And now for this step, we want to do a zigzag stitch, you guys. So now when we begin sewing on our comb, we want to go on the bottom of the wig comb. So the lower half of the wig comb into the wig cap, we want to make sure we do a back stitch at least once, you guys, for the entire comb. And then also we're going to go back and then we're going to stitch the top of the wig comb, making sure our wig comb is secure no matter what, and it's going to lay flat in relation to the head, you guys. So here you guys can see me doing this step. Now a tip is go slow, you guys, when you're attaching your combs. That way you will not hit the needle with the comb. You know, I know a lot of people are nervous, especially as a beginner, but if you go slow the first time, and even if it hits, you're just gonna adjust and keep going, you know. So that's just if it hits. So you want to back stitch on your combs at the top and the bottom, you guys. Always make sure you're sewing the top of your comb down and the bottom of your comb. That way it can always be secure and lay flat to your customer's head. So again, that's just a really easy step. So that's what it looks like when it's all done and completed, you guys. Seamless and flat, and we have a completed wig, you guys. So definitely pat yourself on the back. You did it. Our adjustable bands are looking good. Now these are detachable for your clients. Again, any wigs that you make that your customers can add a level of, you know, customization, and they can always tighten or loosen their wigs to their convenience, then definitely that's a big selling point. And yeah, you guys, definitely love this step. You can pat yourself on the back. We are completed this unit. So this is what everything looks like, you guys. Everything is flat, secure to the head. It looks really, really good. I'm loving it. And we can commence to the styling portion, you guys. So yeah, congrats on making your first glueless wig. This is how everything looks. Again, you guys, I'm going to cut this wig into a bob. That's why it doesn't have a track on the bottom. But yes, you guys, this is what your finished results look like. I always highly suggest my students to take pictures of your work as you go. That way you can always mark your progress and your process. Okay, period. Guys, I wanted to add in a bonus styling portion of this video. I know you guys love the styling on my page, so I wanted to add that element into this wig course. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to measure out any of our baby hair, as you guys can see me doing right now. Now I know this is a bob unit, but I wanted to make it fun. I feel like everybody loves baby hair at least a little bit, so this is not a baby hair tutorial, but I want to show you how I get my baby hair and the things that I do, you guys. So what I like to do is I like to just separate everything. That way I know where I'm going. I'm gonna take some wax from Edge Booster. I like to use this wax stick. I like to add it on top of my baby hair, and before I press it down, you guys, so this just lays everything in place. This takes away any flyaways, so that's what I like to do. So as you guys can see, when I take my hot comb, it literally presses everything down. It presses everything down, you guys. And if you're watching this tutorial, then make sure you stay tuned on my Instagram page. I will be giving you guys links of where I got my hot comb, where I'm using everything, all my products, because I know it's going to be definitely affordable for you guys to get your hands onto. So don't worry, I got you. Once our baby hairs is pressed down, I just want to braid it out the way. That way we can just have it out the way for our next step. And I want to press back my closure now. So what I like to do is I just like to work in sections, making sure everything is clean, you guys. So the first step is separating your baby hair. The next step is combing back your hairline, making sure everything is out the way, so that when we proceed to start creating our baby hair, nothing is in the way of us doing it, and we can just do it nice and easy. So we're taking our wax stick again, and I like to just go where the part is. So once I push back my hairline, I just like to sleek down the sides, you guys. Now again, I'm gonna go back over the top. This is just where I make everything neat and seamless. Honestly, I like to just establish my part always before I even press my unit. I feel like it just creates for a nice sleek finish at the end, and it makes my work go by really quick, you guys. So I'm gonna take my wig comb. I'm taking my hot comb. I'm just laying down my closure, making sure everything is flat, making sure that middle part is bust down, honey, making sure it's really seamless and it's really flat, you guys. So that's what I'm doing here on this step. Now again, we are going to go back over that part. Okay guys, so now once everything looks nice and sleek and neat, what we want to do now is we want to cut off any extra hair just to create our baby hair. So what I like to do is maybe I like to use 1 inch of baby hair. Now remember you guys, the longer the baby hair, the less natural it's gonna look. The shorter the baby hair, the more natural it's gonna look. So just keep that in mind when you're cutting your baby hair. What I like to do is I like to move my shears up and down, giving it a feathery motion, because I don't really like my baby hair to be straight, and I like to do that on both sides, you guys. Just literally moving my shears up and down, making little slits in the shears to cut the hair off. So it's really not like a hard technique. It's just really like a feathering technique with shears. But yeah, you guys, and then I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna just detail it. If I want my baby hair shorter, this is when I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna trim them now. But for the sake of the video, I wanted to make them a decent length because, you know, just to create a little bit of fun baby hair. So I'm gonna use some Nairobi foam on the back of my hand, you guys, and I'm gonna mix that with a little bit of Got2b, just a little bit. You do not need a lot for this step, you guys. And I'm gonna use my baby hair tool also as well to create my baby hair. Now we're gonna add that product, mixing it together, foam and gel, and now we're gonna just put it at the top, you guys. I like to put it over all my baby hair just so it can get tacky before we start laying it, and that way my baby hair can stay in place. Now using this technique and using Got2b combined with Nairobi foam, you guys, what I like to do is, why I like to do this is it secures my baby hair and it makes it last all day. So if you are running a wig business and you're shipping wigs, you guys, thank me later for the step. This is definitely going to help you because you're going to be able to ship your units with the baby hair already in it. So I love that step. I like to use a little bit of foam, pushing that hairline back again, you guys, making sure everything is neat. Again, I like to teach you guys how to work neatly. That way your end result can always be flawless and you can have a really great finish. And I'm just going to start beginning to swoop that baby hair, you guys. Now baby hair, as a beginner, I always tell people, take your time when it comes to baby hair. Baby hair is an art. Okay, baby hair is a whole art in itself. I just need to do a whole baby hair tutorial, honey, for you guys who want it. So if you guys want that, then definitely leave a comment on my Instagram page and I will definitely make it happen for you guys. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go and create in my baby hair. I like to get the direction with the brush side of it, and then I like to shape it with the comb side. So that's just a tip. Anything other than that, baby hair is like a preference, you guys. So some people like baby hair, some people don't. You do not have to do them in a wig. I just thought, you know, I want to create it. I just thought I would add this step in the video just as a bonus because I know you guys are interested in learning and you guys want to see it. So if you guys want more about styling and what I use to style and my styling tips, then definitely stay tuned for my masterclass because I'm going to cover customizing, plucking, everything in that tutorial, you guys. So yeah, make sure you definitely watch my page if you are learning anything from me and you're getting value. I definitely appreciate you guys. So yeah, take your time when it comes to creating baby hair. Work in sections. And you guys, when you get frustrated, especially creating baby hair, who's in control? You or the baby hair? You're always in control. So yeah, definitely take your time, you guys. And we're just using 3 pieces of baby hair just for this 5x5 closure. I think it looks really, really pretty, you know. So yeah, once that step is done, I like to let it air dry. I'm not gonna tie this up or anything. That's the reason why we want to separate our hairline from the baby hair, because look at how beautiful that is, you guys. I love how that looks. Get into the details. The better your work looks, you guys, the higher you can charge for it, period. So now once that step is done, you guys, what I like to do is I'm gonna just show you guys a nice sleek press we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna take my Redken silicone flat iron. I love this flat iron. I've had it for years. I think it helps really, really good with silk presses. It has a plate of silicone in it, and it just helps me get that hair nice and sleek. And it also gives like a nice little tug to the hair, not really pulling, but just like sleek, as far as like it has a comb chasing method already in it. So that's why, even though I'm still gonna use my comb. After your unit is completed and you are done making it and you want to give it a nice silk press, if you want to sleek, then definitely go by each of those track, you guys, and just give it a nice silk press. Now I'm using the chase and comb method because, again, you guys, y'all know I'm licensed and that's how I was taught in beauty school. So that's how I press my unit. You guys, look at what I said earlier. Look at how that baby hair is just laid. You see how we didn't have to even tie it up? That baby hair is going to stay like that. That's because of the Gots to Be. So that's just a pro tip, you guys. Use a light hand when you're doing that, though, just so your clients or yourself are able to manipulate and move the baby hair and it's not frozen. So you want to use a little bit of Got to Be. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. So once we get up to the closure, what I like to do is I like to take really thin sections. I like to apply our wax stick, and I like to go in with our hot comb, really making sure everything is sleek. So this is how you get a really flat closure. You want to make sure you're basically laying that hot comb flush and flat to the closure as you're pressing down, and then you want to go in with your flat iron and then press the hair, you guys. So yeah, that's just what I like to do. Go in, taking really thin sections, you guys, of my closure before I press it, applying my wax stick, and then going in with the hot comb at the roots, making sure it's really flat and it's close to the closure, and then we're gonna go in with our hot comb. Okay, you guys? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I'm going to stop talking. I'm gonna let you guys watch the slay when it's done. Thank you guys so much for making this purchase and supporting my business. Again, you guys, my masterclass is coming. This is just a really mini course, just introducing my techniques, my skills. Hopefully you guys found value from this video. And yeah, you guys, I encourage you guys to practice. I encourage you guys to never give up and to always keep going. And again, you guys, use these techniques because they work. They make money. You know, that is the goal of the game, is to make money and also to provide value and to give back to people, you know? So yeah, you guys, I'm gonna let you guys finish watching this video. I appreciate you so much, and stay tuned for the ending results, you guys. I love you so much, and yeah, I will see you guys at my masterclass. Peace.